March 19th, it's Illinois' primary election. Illinois is a state that requires voters to declare Republican or Democrat when they go to the poll to vote in a primary. We're not a caucus state where you get parties of people together at a local hall and then they stand up or sit down for whoever they want the candidate to be. Those are sometimes privately funded by the party in question, but in Illinois, taxpayers fund the private party politics of private party primaries. We can go into all the criticism of that, but regardless, the primary is March 19th, and Republicans and Democrats considered the majority party because of vote thresholds they received in the most recent election. So that means that Republicans and Democrats are the ones that are filing for getting on the primary ballot. So the primary is March 19th. The general election is November 5th. Of 2024. So we've got election season upon us, believe it or not. I chatted briefly at the Illinois State Board of Elections with the spokesman of the Board of Elections, Matt Dietrich, and here's some of what he had to say when talking about the opening of petition filing being yesterday, a week-long process. Go ahead.
Well, you have all 118 House seats in the Illinois House. You have 23 Illinois Senate seats, and that includes 3 that are completing. They're running to complete a 4-year term. So 23 of those. We have all 17 seats in Congress, and then you have just around 80 judicial vacancies at all levels all around the state. All judges file here. It's unusual. This time we have, other than president, and presidential candidates don't file till January 4th and 5th, but we have no statewide candidates. There is no U.S. Senator up this year. The next steps are the completion of filing, which goes through 1 week from today at 5 p.m. And then once that is finished, then people will file objections to candidacies. Now, immediately after they file their nominating petitions today, our staff indoors begins scanning all of those paper documents all those signature sheets, and we'll be here till 10 or 11 tonight, batch scanning all of those. Then candidates, their opponents, concerned observers can request copies of those petitions and can look them over to see if they have the correct number of voter signatures, if the voters on their signatures are on their petition sheets are registered to vote in their districts, whether the petition is properly put together from a technical standpoint, and they can file an objection to a candidacy based on that. Then from December 4th to 11th, we field those objections, and we begin the administrative process for hearing those objections.
So you can see the process opening now for Republicans and Democrats to file their petitions to get on the March primary ballot. Every Illinois House seat is up for grabs. Every U.S. House seat is up for grabs. Several Illinois state Senate seats are up for grabs. No U.S. Senate seats in Illinois up for grabs. Talked with several politicians that I recognized in the line here in Springfield at the Illinois State Board of Elections, which, fun fact, the Illinois State Board of Elections office in Springfield is in a shopping plaza about a door or so down from Chuck E. Cheese. Just simmer on that for a moment. Regardless, it's a tradition for these politicians and their various, campaign volunteers or paid staff to stand in line in the bitter cold. One was Chicago State Representative Ann Williams. She talked about the importance of the day.
I just think people need to remember that we're out there working for them, representing the communities, and they need to make sure that everybody knows who their state rep, state senator are, because we make some big decisions that impact your lives.
And obviously others there as well. State Representative Blaine Wilhauer, Republican from Beecher City there, also talking about the importance of being there to represent his constituents, especially facing the possibility of a Republican challenger on the March primary ballot.
Yeah, I'm just happy to be here to show the people in the 110th district that I'm serious about getting back on the ballot and getting back to work for the people. Apparently the special interests in this state think that they don't have enough power, so they're recruiting a Republican candidate backed by the Illinois Education Association to run against me, and I'm eager to have that conversation in our district, because if you want real reform in this state, you're going to come headlong against those powerful special interests on everything. You want to lower property taxes, you want to properly fund education, you want to do those things, then we need major reforms, and those groups are clearly standing in the way, and I'm really excited to have that conversation in our district.
I also talked with Marcus Evans, a state representative from Chicago, about the importance of the day.
It's a reminder that this is an important process. Democracy is important, so I come down here to file the petitions on my own, and also to talk to the other candidates. We're all here to serve the people, or want to serve the people. Yeah.
And Marcus Evans also talking about what he hears are some of the major concerns of the voters.
I still think energy is important. People want their energy bills to be as low as possible. People want clean energy, and they want jobs associated with that. So energy is going to be important. And amongst the usual issues, it's always going to be crime, safety, those type of issues.
I also chatted with State Representative Brad Halbrook, a Republican from Shelbyville, about what some of the major issues he sees are on voters' minds heading into the 2024 election cycle.
Yeah, well, we're still fighting the Safety Act stuff. I think that's yet to play out to see how that's going to go. I hear from state's attorneys often about they're just waiting for something to fail. So anyhow, people are not showing up for court dates, things like that. And the other thing is the gun ban. I think that's the biggest issue we face. As I've been out with voters all fall, they're concerned about their collection, what they're going to have to do to save that, what this all means. And so, we're waiting on ISP and JCAR to play that all out.
So clearly, these various elected officials in line to get back on the ballots to be elected again, and that was what was happening in Springfield yesterday. Touching on what they're hearing from their constituents. Mike Simmons, the Democrat from Chicago, a state senator. He also shared with me some of what he's hearing from constituents.
I think right now people are just trying to get by. There's so many people across our state right now who are hurting, who can't afford food, can't afford prescriptions, can't afford rent. And everybody out here running for office has got to be fighting for them, including myself.
So clearly a lot of different issues at hand here when it comes to dealing with the public and their concerns and what exactly they're going to be doing about it. Now, of course, the primary is for Republicans to choose which Republican they want to be on the November ballot. The November ballots will have Republicans, Democrats, or any possible independents there may be, or third parties there may be on the ballot. But one closely watched race is with State Representative Darren Bailey, former state representative, going up against incumbent U.S. Representative Mike Bost. Mike Bost and Darren Bailey were there. Here they are from back to back, talking about what makes them unique and why they should get the nod for the U.S. House seat in the southern part of the state.
Years of experience, and the fact that I'm chairman of of the VA committee in Congress, a full committee chairman, not a subcommittee, a full committee chairman. The last time that we had a person in Congress south of Springfield that actually had a full committee chair was 42 years ago. It's vitally important. It's an advantage for your district. The experience, I'm not old, I'm not senile, also if I did that I would be running for president. So the reality is that I have the experience, and as far as our position, what's really wild is our positions don't, I've always been 100% pro-life. I have always had been endorsed by all the NRA. I was the one that carried the concealed carry legislation for years in the state of Illinois as a state legislator. I've got a conservative record, and I will continue to do that. Yeah, a sixth-term, you're right. So yeah, what does the experience get us? That's what I'm asking my district, guys. I mean, you get to the southern third of Illinois, the 12th congressional district. Cindy and I were in Pulaski County yesterday and in Alexander County. I don't know when the last time you've been down there, but there is a serious lack of opportunity. So the incumbent has been a congressman for 10 years, been a state rep for 20 years above that. You tell me what experience gets you whenever this state has continually declined.
So not only is it going to be, the Bost v. Bailey race that's going to be closely watched, another closely watched race is going to be that of incumbent Chuy Garcia up against Ray Lopez, a Chicago alderman running as a Democrat in the Democrat primary against Garcia. I saw Lopez in line yesterday and chatted with him briefly, and he talks about the difference between himself and Lopez and Garcia.
Well, first and foremost, I'm not a lifelong politician. He was first elected when I was 6 years old. We're ideologically different. He's more on the extreme, I'm more in the mainstream, and he's focused on rhetoric while I focus on results. So I think that what we're going to see is that he's going to talk about what he can do, could do, would do, and I'm going to focus on what we will do.
So obviously you've got Lopez talking about the importance of coming at it in a moderate approach against Garcia. Here's more of what he had to say.
Migrant public safety and the economy. We're seeing that people are struggling right now, but they're also seeing that we're being overwhelmed by the failures of Washington, and we need to put an end to that. So that's why I'm running, because there's only so much I could do as an alderman, but we're going to bring our style of leadership that brings people together, that finds consensus and delivers to Washington, D.C. now more than ever that's needed in a city full of dysfunction. But I'm very excited and very thankful to the residents for at least giving me to this point and looking forward to the next chapter.
Now, one other thing that's top of mind for people is how these legislative districts are drawn, not just for the state house, but also for Congress. Because Illinois lost a seat in Congress, and every 10 years you got to redraw the maps. So they redrew the congressional boundaries, but they also redrew all the little boundaries for state house seats and state senate seats and so on. Even the Supreme Court got a redraw for the first time in decades, which is interesting to think about. But Ann Williams talking about the redistricting, she says that it's important to keep communities together.
Oh, well, I think it's important to keep communities together, and that's what the maps are designed to do. Our communities don't follow strict lines, so I'm comfortable. I know where my district, I can only speak to that. I wasn't involved in the map-making process statewide, but in terms of my district, my priorities are keeping communities together and making sure.
So obviously, she wants to keep those communities together and ensuring that voters are represented properly. Blaine Wilhauer sees it a little bit different, especially as Illinois has been time and again tagged as having the worst gerrymandered maps in the country.
Yeah, I mean, we get national attention for all the wrong reasons, Greg. Clearly, the Democrats are very serious about, consolidating their power even more than they already have, and that's to the detriment of the people of the state of Illinois. But hey, we need to get out there and we need to get people to vote. We need to give people a good reason to vote for us, something that we haven't done a very good job of as the Republican Party, and we can start to take this thing back, because we are not I always say we're a blue state, but we're not San Francisco, all right? So we just need to do a better job.
So a lot of different issues all at play there. So the election, of course, March 19th is the primary election where Republicans go up against Republicans and Democrats go up against Democrats. You've got a variety of congressional seats across the states that are being open for challenge, including you've got a primary for Republicans to go in the 13th congressional district against Democrat Nikki Budzinski in November. The 9th congressional district has a Democratic primary. You've got even the 6th congressional district has a Democratic primary. 4th congressional district is where Ray Lopez is up against Chuy Garcia, and so on. 11th congressional district, 3 Republicans and 2 Democrats are running in the primary up against Bill Foster, who is the incumbent there. So we'll be keeping an eye on all of that, and this kind of opens our ongoing review of what's going on with the elections in Illinois.